My name is Angela Carter. I never imagined I would find myself recounting this narrative, yet after the revelations Jesus imparted during my near-death experience, I feel compelled to share. What was revealed holds immense significance, especially in these troubling times. This profound event unfolded on the evening of November 15, 2023, as I was driving home from my shift at St. Mary's Hospital. It had been an exhaustive day, and the thought of returning to the warmth of my family was comforting. The last clear memory before the incident was the glare of oncoming headlights on the wet road, and then, abruptly, everything altered. The medical team later informed my family that I had been clinically dead for precisely 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Yet, the duration I spent beyond seemed to transcend time itself. What Jesus disclosed about the forthcoming deception, about how effortlessly people will embrace the mark unknowingly, continues to haunt me. Moments after the accident, I experienced a sensation of floating above my scene of the accident. Below, I observed the paramedics feverishly working to resuscitate me. Remarkably, I felt detached from any pain or fear, instead enveloped by a deep tranquility. I watched them as they carefully maneuvered my lifeless form into the ambulance, their actions swift yet methodical. Among them, a young paramedic with compassionate eyes muttered prayers as he labored. I longed to reassure him that I was free from pain now, but communication was beyond my capability. Then, the environment began to brighten with an unearthly light. It was unlike any earthly or artificial light. It was a pure, vibrant light emanating from everywhere simultaneously. As the emergency scene dimmed, I felt an overwhelming pull upwards, bathed in this extraordinary luminescence. Then I heard his voice. "Angela," he called, and my soul recognized him instantly. It was Jesus, and though his face was initially obscured by the brilliant light, my heart knew him instinctively. His presence radiated immense love and authority, prompting tears to stream down my spiritual visage. As my vision adjusted, his features became more discernible. His eyes, deep with love and wisdom, made me feel completely exposed yet fully embraced. Every sin, doubt, and fear I had ever faced was transparent before him, but his love remained steadfast. "My child," he spoke, "you are here for a reason. The vision I am about to reveal must reach my people. Many slumber, unaware of the magnitude of deceit that approaches." I found myself able to respond, though not with spoken words. "Lord," I managed, "I am merely a nurse. Who will heed my words?" His smile was tender yet resolute. "I have often chosen the modest to confound the wise. Do not fret over who will hear. Your duty is to relay what I have shown. I will handle the rest." In that pivotal moment, as Jesus grasped my hand firmly, we were suddenly transported to what seemed a typical city street. Yet, beneath the veneer of normalcy, a profound realization dawned on me. We were beholding scenes from the not-so-distant future. The surroundings bore a striking resemblance to our contemporary world, but the nuances were unmistakably different. "Watch carefully," Jesus said with a gravity that underscored the urgency of his words. "Observe how the enemy will attempt to deceive even the most devout if possible." The street was alive with the hustle and bustle typical of urban life. People of all walks of life streamed past us, deeply engrossed in their routines, yet, upon closer inspection, a peculiar difference became apparent. The integration of technology into their lives was unlike anything I had ever witnessed. It was almost unsettling. I noticed a woman casually entering a coffee shop, her actions catching my eye. Remarkably, she made no move to retrieve a phone or wallet. Instead, with a simple wave of her hand over a sensor, her purchase was completed. A tiny light flickered beneath her skin, signaling the transaction. Intrigued and somewhat alarmed, I turned to Jesus. "Lord, is this the mark of the beast?" He shook his head. "No, this is merely the precursor. Observe how subtly the deception unfolds." What followed was a rapid montage showing the global adoption of this technology. Initially introduced as innocuous microchips substituting for credit cards, house keys, and even medical records, their acceptance was near universal. Christians and non-Christians alike embraced these devices, viewing them as benign enhancements to their daily lives. I watched, dismayed, as entire church congregations adopted this technology without hesitation. They used it to download digital Bibles, contribute tithes electronically, and seamlessly check into church events. It seemed harmless, devoid of any allegiance or worship to sinister forces. It was just advanced technology, or so everyone believed. Take note, Jesus' voice was laden with a mix of concern and sorrow as he continued, how the adversary introduces these elements not as threats, but as aids. He is cunning, preferring to infiltrate subtly rather than overtly, much like a serpent stealthily coiling its victim. The technology evolved, becoming ever more sophisticated and integral to everyday life. It now had the capability to monitor health metrics, predict illnesses, and even regulate sleep patterns and mood swings through minute biochemical adjustments. My child, Jesus observed my shocked expression, always remember, all that glitters is not gold. The enemy is adept at cloaking his deceit in attractive packages. The scene shifted to show parents, their faces alight with relief and hope, opting to implant these devices in their children. It's for their safety, they justified, convinced they were making the right decision. Now we'll always know where they are, we can monitor their health and ensure they're safe at school. These devices were particularly marketed towards protecting the youth, touted as essential tools in a world perceived as increasingly fraught with dangers. Lord, I voiced out, my heart heavy, everything seems so beneficial. How do we alert people against something that presents so much apparent good? Jesus' gaze met mine, filled with an infinite sadness. This is why the deception is so effective. The enemy knows that blatant evil would be rejected outright by my followers. Thus, he masquerades as an angel of light, offering seemingly perfect solutions to real-world problems, promising to enhance life's quality. I could see how the technology began to subtly alter human behavior. Those implanted with these devices grew increasingly dependent on them for emotional regulation, decision-making, and even social interactions. The devices recommended dietary choices, sleep schedules, and social contacts, and even shaped opinions on various subjects. Jesus pointed out a family at dinner. Watch closely. The family interaction, though outwardly normal, was unnaturally stilted. Their emotions and conversations were moderated, if not dictated, by the implants. Can't they perceive what's happening? I asked, a sense of despair washing over me. They only see the immediate benefits, Jesus responded. Improved health, enhanced stability, greater convenience. They fail to recognize that they are relinquishing their free will, their divine right to choose freely, in exchange for these transient comforts. The vision expanded to show diverse implementations of this technology across the globe. Regardless of the cultural context, the underlying aim remained consistent: to foster dependency and control over the populace. In some places, it was integrated through healthcare systems. In others, it was through financial incentives or societal pressures, playing on fears of being left behind. This is progress. This is necessary. This is for your good, the universal mantra echoed ominously. I watched as dissenters, those who dared to question the widespread adoption of the technology, were systematically marginalized. Labeled as conspiracy theorists, resistant to progress, or simply fearful of change, their concerns were dismissed, even within religious communities. My people perish for lack of knowledge, Jesus quoted solemnly. They have been seduced by worldly wisdom, neglecting the eternal wisdom that comes from above. The effect on children was particularly stark. Those raised with implants exhibited diminished capacities for independent thought, genuine emotion, and spiritual sensitivity. The enemy specifically targets the young, Jesus explained, for they will accept without question the norms their elders might challenge. A whole generation is being primed to accept what is to come. Education systems globally were recalibrated around the technology, teaching children that their implants were as natural a part of them as any limb. Lord, I said, my voice barely a whisper, overwhelmed by the implications, this is truly heartbreaking. How can it be that people do not see where this is leading? Because, Jesus replied, they view with their physical eyes, not with the spiritual. They appreciate the surface benefits but are blind to the spiritual costs. They see only the temporary advantages, oblivious to the eternal consequences. Suddenly, the scene shifted dramatically. I witnessed chaos unfolding globally. Financial systems collapsing, power grids failing, supply chains faltering. Amidst the panic and desperation, watch now, Jesus cautioned. This is how the mark will be introduced. World leaders appeared, proposing a necessary upgrade to the existing technology, touted as the only solution to prevent further chaos. Pay attention to their presentation. Jesus instructed as we watched the media spin the narrative, portraying the upgrade as a mere evolution of existing technology. Religious leaders reassured their congregations, "It's just advanced technology, not the mark of the beast." "Now," Jesus said, preparing me for the final revelation, "see what they cannot." As I looked, able now to perceive the spiritual realm alongside the physical, the sight before me was chilling. As individuals accepted the upgrade, palpable darkness enveloped their spirits, a somber testament to the profound spiritual consequences hidden beneath the technological advances. As Jesus gently led me through this unfolding revelation, the impact of the spiritual invasion became painfully clear, though it was not immediately apparent to those affected. Individuals continued their daily routines, praying, attending church, reading their Bibles. Yet, an insidious transformation was underway. The mark, Jesus elaborated with a tone of grave concern, will initially not be enforced through coercion or violence. Rather, it will be embraced willingly, even eagerly by many. The adversary has learned from past attempts that persecution often fortifies the faith of my followers. Instead, he opts for a more sinister route: deception, cloaking the mark as a progressive and beneficial innovation. As time progressed within the vision, the subtle shifts in those who had accepted the upgrade became increasingly evident. Their prayers, once fervent and profound, now echoed with a hollow, mechanical tone. Worship sessions turned into mere rituals, lacking genuine connection with the divine. Most alarmingly, their spiritual discernment began to wane significantly. "Lord," I inquired, deeply troubled, "why do they not perceive the gradual decay of their spiritual vitality?" Jesus responded, "The transformation is incremental, akin to a frog unknowingly being boiled alive. They do not recognize the slow severance from my spirit until reconnection becomes impossible." The vision expanded to illustrate how the upgrade infiltrated various societal sectors. In healthcare, it boasted of flawless health monitoring and automated treatments. In finance, it promised unparalleled security and effortless access to resources. In the realm of interpersonal relationships, it purported to enhance understanding and communication. Yet, the most heart-wrenching scene was that of families, particularly parents who, with well-meaning intentions, persuaded their children that this upgrade was essential for their safety, academic success, and future prosperity in a rapidly changing world. They sincerely believed that their decision was in the best interest of their loved ones. Observe, Jesus guided as the vision took a darker turn. I saw the media propagate fear, depicting scenarios where children were barred from schools, adults were ousted from their jobs, and families faced obstacles in obtaining basic necessities like food and medicine without the upgrade. The societal pressure to conform was overwhelming. Even churches found themselves deeply divided, with many leaders advocating for the acceptance of the upgrade as a means to preserve their influence and relevance in society. "My child," Jesus' voice was laden with sorrow, "observe how the enemy manipulates good intentions to lead my people astray. They believe they are making prudent decisions, fulfilling their duties as responsible citizens and caring parents, yet they are unwittingly distancing themselves from me." The vision then shifted focus directly to the technological advancement itself. It was no longer a mere physical implant. It had evolved to intertwine intricately with human consciousness. This integration manipulated thoughts, emotions, and even the inherent capacity for spiritual connection. This is the core peril, Jesus elucidated. The mark transcends mere economic transactions. It fundamentally transforms their essence. It corrupts the divine image in which they were created. Different age groups reacted variably to the upgrade. The elderly, with memories of simpler, less encumbered times, often showed resistance. The middle-aged tended to acquiesce out of practical necessity, while the younger generation, captivated by the allure of technological advancement, embraced it wholeheartedly, viewing it as the inevitable next phase of human progression. "Lord," I questioned, a sense of dread settling over me, "what becomes of those who integrate this upgrade into their beings?" Jesus' expression grew somber, his eyes reflecting the profound spiritual ramifications. "Those who accept it willingly," he revealed, "irrevocably seal their eternal destiny. The upgrade does more than alter their physical form. It fundamentally disrupts their spiritual connection. They lose the ability to experience the Holy Spirit's conviction or grasp the truths of the Spirit." This revelation was chilling, a stark reminder of the spiritual stakes involved. The upgrade was not just a technological advancement. It was a pivotal battleground for the soul, reshaping the very essence of humanity and steering it away from divine truth and connection. As I witnessed the disheartening transformation of once fervent believers becoming spiritually desensitized, my heart sank. The subtle yet profound change was not overt. They continued to engage in religious activities, praying, attending church, reading scriptures, but the essence of their faith seemed hollow. Their words might echo the language of faith, but their hearts were turned to stone. They could recite verses from the Bible, yet were unable to grasp its life-changing power. They spoke of God, but their connection to His voice had grown faint. "But Lord," I implored, seeking understanding for those who resisted. "What about those who resist?" The scene before me shifted, revealing a contrasting group, those who had defiantly refused the upgrade. Their lives were markedly more difficult. They faced exclusion from societal benefits like buying food from regular stores and sending their children to public schools, and they often lost their jobs. Yet, amidst these hardships, their spiritual essence was vibrantly alive. They shone like beacons in an increasingly dim world. "These are my faithful ones," Jesus spoke with deep affection in His voice. "They perceive what others cannot because they have kept their spiritual eyes wide open. They immerse themselves in my word and have honed their ability to distinguish truth from deception." I watched as these resilient believers created supportive communities, sharing resources and aiding those in distress. They embodied a peaceful resilience, grounded not in fear but in a firm conviction of their faith. "What should people be vigilant for?" I queried. "How can they identify this as it begins?" Jesus responded, "First, be wary of technology that claims to enhance human faculties beyond how I created you. The enemy will propose improvements to the human mind and body, but at a grave cost to the soul. Secondly, observe when conveniences transition to necessities. What starts as optional soon becomes indispensable for everyday life. Thirdly, monitor how it impacts children. The enemy preys on their openness, knowing they will accept what their elders might question. Lastly, notice any technology that dulls your spiritual sensitivity. Anything that makes prayer feel distant or weakens sin's conviction. As our conversation deepened, Jesus revealed a profound vision of hope amidst the darkness. I saw a divine light piercing through the gloom, safeguarding those who had rejected the mark. They experienced supernatural protection and provision that defied human understanding. "My people will not be forsaken," Jesus reassured me, echoing the divine care provided to Elijah by the brook and the Israelites in the wilderness. Angels encircled the homes of the faithful, shielding them from harm. Miraculous provisions appeared, food multiplied, and needs were met in the most unexpected ways. Most importantly, their relationship with Jesus deepened, growing stronger and more profound through their trials. "Lord," I asked, moved by the display of divine faithfulness, "how can people prepare for what's ahead?" Jesus' guidance was clear and direct. "Strengthen your relationship with me now, before the deception deepens. Know my voice so intimately that you can discern when something does not come from me. Immerse yourself in my word. The truth you need is there, but you must be able to recognize the lies. Forge genuine connections with fellow believers. You will need each other in the challenging times ahead. Teach your children to value their relationship with me above the world's offerings. And most importantly, do not succumb to fear. I have conquered the world, and those who remain steadfast in me will partake in that victory." As our vision concluded, Jesus indicated it was time for me to return. "Remember all that you have seen," He instructed. I wanted to stay, to learn more, but His smile, brimming with love, reassured me. "What I have shown you is sufficient. Share it faithfully. Those who are meant to hear will listen." When I awoke, surrounded by the sterile confines of a hospital room, the doctors marveled at my recovery, but my soul was occupied with the visions I had witnessed. That was 6 months ago. Since then, I've observed technology advance in ways that echoed the revelations shown to me. Each news report on digital implants and biotechnology integration serves as a stark reminder of His warnings. Some question if I am opposed to all technology. I am not. I continue to use everyday devices judiciously, but I am acutely aware of the boundaries that should not be crossed. I share this story because Jesus emphasized the urgency. The technology leading to the mark is being developed, and the crisis that will catalyze its acceptance is nearing. If you are reading this, I implore you to take this message seriously. Engage deeply with your Bible, seek discernment through prayer, cultivate strong bonds with fellow believers, and foster an intimate relationship with Jesus. The deception will not appear as overt evil. It will be disguised as a solution, a path to an easier life. But remember, no convenience is worth the cost of losing your connection to God. Jesus assured me that many might dismiss this warning, and that's okay. My role is not to convince everyone, but to share what I have been shown. Those seeking truth will recognize it. For those who feel fear, let it be a reminder to draw closer to Him. Jesus has shown that His protection and provision for His faithful will be more than sufficient. Focus on building your relationship with Him while there is still time. And always remember His promise. I have overcome the world. The challenges may be formidable, but our God is greater. Stay near to Him, and you will not be led astray. This is my testimony, my solemn witness. May God grant you the vision and hearing to discern what the Spirit is saying to the churches in these final days.